What's up, guys? Welcome back to Drums and Drams. So if you're watching this video on the replay, I just want to tell you right away that this is not a completely dedicated video like you see on the thumbnail. The thumbnail is going to say something about Jack Daniel's 14 against the world, and we're going to have all these blind comparisons. It's going to be like an 8-way blind flight or something like that. Skip ahead. I'll try to remember to go back after this live stream, put the timestamp in the description, but this is technically like a regular Thursday night live stream, so there's going to be other stuff before that blind flight happens. There's not going to be a ton of other stuff. Just have a couple things to taste, talk about, whatever. The stream itself is probably going to be like an hour and a half. I've got a dress rehearsal in the morning, so I can't be on all night, but just wanted to let you guys know that up front, especially if you're watching the replay. Now, if you're hanging out tonight, I'm going to pull up the live chat. I'm sure everybody's giving me for being late. I pushed the stream back an hour also because I was just trying to get a bunch of stuff done. I'm like almost done with my taxes and like all the paperwork. You know, we're building a house. So anyways, things have been a little bit crazy. So let's get into it tonight. Let me see who's hanging out this evening. Jeb, feels like a Scotch kind of night. No, it doesn't. Not tonight. Although, you know what? I really want to dive into that Ardnamurchan before I break another bottle of it. So here's the deal too with the Jack 14. With the Jack 14 flight, all the stuff that I put on the thumbnail, that is not everything that's going to be in the flight. Those are just a few of the things that are going to be in the flight. There's going to be 8 total bottles. Some of them are just straight up samples. Some of them I have bottles of. It's kind of like a half and half split, I would say. And the reason we're doing the Jack 14 thing tonight is because, number one, I don't have a bunch of new bottles that have come in this week to take a look at. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do a live stream. But again, because Sarah and I are now building this house, which is like basically from last Wednesday till, I don't know, Monday, things went very fast, and now we're suddenly building a house, and we're in contract and all that stuff, and I'm trying to get all my paperwork together. But this is a little bit of a celebration flight, for me at least, for signing my life away financially. So, which wouldn't be possible actually without the channel, which is really crazy to think about. But we've been getting to this point for the last 2 years, and now it's finally like, hey, we're able to make this happen. So it's a little bit of a celebration on my part, I would say. All right, so what am I going to start with? So I was warming up. Let me know what you guys are sipping on. Please hit that like button, all that good stuff. So I was just sipping on some J.W. Dant, 1978. This is from somebody locally that I met up with, I don't know, about a month or so ago. He gave me this sample, a couple other cool ones as well. But this 78 J.W. Dant was the one I was the most excited about. So I just warmed up with a little bit of that. Total butterscotch funnel cake kind of bomb. I wonder if he's building a rick house too. I wish, man. Come on. So Matt says he got River Roots in the glass. Which one do you got in the glass, man? Green River Foolproof, that's a solid choice. I need to revisit that. I think they've done some later batches since the initial one that I reviewed. Thank you, Tom, for the gifting the memberships, man. I appreciate that. Bourbon Bill, what's up, dude? Thanks for the video last night. Yeah, new house on the way. It'll probably be a year from now. We're not going to break ground for a couple months, while everything gets kind of worked out, I think. And we got to go pick out all of our design options for the house and stuff. But it's like not a fully custom house. It's like in a neighborhood, so a little more cookie cutter, which honestly is better for me because I would get lost in the details and I would never get anything done. So having the restrictions and the options is nice. But I tell you what, man, things ain't cheap these days. It's a little scary. So what are we going to dive into first? First, let me get some air in this. I got to crack a new Russell's 15 tonight because I realized for this blind flight, so good. I'm going to just let this sit with the cork out for a bit. The blind flight that we're doing tonight, I have like half an ounce of the Russell's 15 back there, so I'd rather get a fresh bottle going. Sell me your Dark Arts pick, you coward. I only have 2 left, bro. I only have two sealed left, and I keep 2 sealed of every one of my picks, so they're not going anywhere, unfortunately. There are still some out there. I mean, those went public, and some people bought like 5 or 6. There were people that bought a bunch of them and loaded up on those picks. So I bet if you ISO'd in like a Facebook group, I bet you could probably find one. It would probably be a little more expensive. Like I think they go for like $250-ish, but I bet you could find one. That's funny. That's funny that it's funny to see the demand for certain things over time, you know. All right, what do I got to taste? Oh, let's do this. So I had a really surprising kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, tasting session. I mean, I was just sitting in bed sipping whiskey, watching Severance. But I had a really shocking moment last night tasting these samples that a very generous Patreon member sent. This is just, I'm trying to do too many things at once. These are shocking. These are Smooth Ambler samples. I've also got a rare character here, and we'll talk about the comparison in a second. Now, I've tasted 2 of these, and thank you, J Carp, for sending these, man. I've got an 8-year Founders Bourbon, 122.8. I've got a Smooth Ambler 9-year Founders Bourbon, 128 proof. And I've got a Smooth Ambler Founders Cask Rye. This is 6-year, 121.8. And by the way, does anybody know if the Smooth Ambler Rye is their own distillate? I know the bourbon is, but is the rye their own stuff too? Tim, what's up, man? Thanks for jumping in, and thanks for grabbing that toasted rye. We'll talk about that in a second. And actually, what I'm going to do, I need to put that link in the description of this video. I forgot to do that before the stream started. So I am going to shamelessly plug something, but, you know, it's okay. It's good whiskey, so I will... It's not as... You know, it's not that shameful, I guess. But I need to find this link very quickly. Should be here in the Discord. Nice, there we go. All right, so I'll update this in the description. All the Founders is their own. That's what I was figuring. Sam, do you have these same samples, dude? All right, so let's get into these. Let's get into the bourbons first, and then we'll check out the rye. So I did not sip the rye last night, so I have no clue what I'm getting into, but these bourbons are very interesting. It's going to be a great warm-up for me getting into this other flight. These are decently proofed, but they're not super old, so I think this is not going to ruin anything for the flight that we're going to get into, which is all quality, high-proof whiskey in its own right. We'll do the exceptional next to this. Okay. Super cool you hooked up Bourbon Bill. Oh yeah, man, dude. Listen, Bourbon Bill. If you just want honest takes on shit, Bourbon Bill's the guy. I mean, I love it. So I would love, and I was thinking about this too. I don't know if Bourbon Bill has done any barrel picks yet, or if he's planning to. But I was thinking we should totally collab on a River Roots pick or 2. I mean, depending on River Roots sells, you know, and everybody wants River Roots. If we could go grab a barrel or 2, that would be really fun. What's up, Clay? Good to see you, man. Clay, I think you messaged me, I think yesterday maybe, or 2 days ago. I read it about the email. I didn't get an email. I don't think I'm on like the official email list. I think I get some things and not other things, maybe. Maybe there's tiers to the email list or something. J Carp sent it. Nice. Hard Truth stuff is wild. Might have to grab some myself. What are you guys talking about? Okay. Severance is amazing, says Mark. We're loving it. We're like just into season 2, and we are loving Severance. Excuses. Well, I mean, listen, if the price is right. No, I'm just kidding. They got to stay here. Okay, trying to do too many things at once. Let me get this in the description of the video here. I'll put it. Of course, it's not going to load, huh? There it is. Okay. Boom. So I will. I'll plug that here in a second for everybody. All right. So let's check this out now. Let's get into these Smooth Amblers. Because again, I'm so shocked at the quality of this whiskey. And then we'll obviously get into the blind. Probably by, I don't know, 10:40 we'll get into the blind or so. Barry, ADHD. I don't know, man. I was never diagnosed or anything, but Sarah tells me that I definitely have that. But, you know, everybody can say that. Everyone says, I got OCD. I got ADHD. It's like, I don't know. We're all a little weird, huh? So, what's up, Brandon? Oh, my God. All right. So, starting with the 8-year, 122.8, it is like, it's not quite like, it's really fruity. So let's start with that. Like this Smooth Ambler, very fruity. It's a dense, heavy nose. Smells like a sweet mash. So Whenever I have a sweet mash whiskey, and I don't know if this is sweet mash, but it gives me those vibes. When you have low barrel entry proof and or sweet mash, you get a lot more concentrated flavor. Usually it's fruitier, sweeter. I mean, you know, sweet mash, sweeter whiskey, that does correlate to some degree, but you get just more dense flavor in there. This has a little bit of that sweet mash vibe to it as far as the fruit notes go. Now, it's not like a dark berry compote. That would be a little darker than what this is. This is almost like... It's a little watery, or a little more like a juice, you know, than compote or like something that's really cooked down. It's a little bit more of a thinner viscosity, I guess, than that. However, it's super fruity, and it has like a little bit of this pop to the top of the nose on the top note, like almost a little bit of like a sour, teeny bit of a tropical vibe on it too. But, man, it smells great. Like, it doesn't smell young. It's 8 years old. It's their own distillate. I've never heard, like, super positive things about Smooth Ambler's stuff. I think it's always just been kind of like, it's fine, you know? But this is really nice on the nose. All right, we'll do a taste. It's very spicy. Like... Palate's a little different than the nose. So if you want consistency, this has a little lack of consistency from nose to palate for me. But very spicy up front. Again, with that kind of like sharper, more sour fruit note, like right on the front, and then that goes away immediately. It gets rich in the mid palate, and it's not as fruity as the nose. It's actually more chocolatey. So it adds more chocolate in the mid palate, and as it gets into the finish, it's like snickerdoodle cookie. So there's a little kind of peanut vibe to this that I wasn't getting on the nose, but it's not overbearing at all. It just has kind of a weird transition throughout the sip. Like you kind of go from stage to stage as you sip it. Go back to the nose, and you can get a little bit more of that peanut now, but it's not nearly as strong as like a Jim Beam peanut. This is so good. Like, no, it's not like Russell's 15 or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But for the price point, which by the way, let me look that up and just be sure. Smooth Ambler 8-year Founder's price. Let's just see what the price is on these. I looked it up last night, but I want to be correct. Okay, the 6-year was $55. It looks like. We're probably in like 70, 80 territory for this. Fine. I think it's a fine price. I wouldn't want to pay over that, but very nice. Let's move on, though. Let's go to the 9-year. I actually need a little more. Brian, we're about to drink Big Level. We're starting with a couple warm-up pours right now. I want to check out this Smooth Ambler stuff, their own distillate. I am going to talk about the barrel picks we just released because we have a couple more of these available. I'll talk about the barrel picks coming up next week. Next Friday, we're dropping 3 killers, and then we'll get into the blind flight. I did a funny little blend for the blind flight, too, that involves 3 different King of Kentuckys. Or Kings of Kentucky, I guess. Do you have a plan on moving your hundreds of bottles to your new house? I have 0 planned right now. Although I don't really want movers. Like, I don't want anybody to touch those bottles except me, which then sets me up to have to move 850 bottles or something, which is a lot, but a lot of other people have way bigger collections than that, you know? All mine is down in the basement, relegated to just shelving that I've got down there. I'm actually probably more concerned about all the sample bottles and glassware, because that's the more annoying stuff, you know? Just wait until Sarah wants an addition for the house. No, listen, Tom. We stacked the house up front because I was like, I don't want to deal with any of that. So we got the morning room on the back. We got, you know, the full porch deal. Like, I was like, we're just going to go all out up front because I didn't want to deal with any of that stuff. Computing. Yeah, who said that? Jeb said computing. I love it. The movers are coming on March 15th, 26th. Cam will start packing after the stream on March 14th. That's funny. Oh, Jeb, I hate you. I hate you. Okay, let's go to the 9-year real quick. Oh, my God, man. So the 9-year is like even deeper fruit. This gets into those berry notes. Smells like blueberries. It has an oaky char thing to it that the 8-year did not have. It's also a higher proof at 128, and I think I like this proof better. Crawls up your nose a little bit, so it's not youthful, but it does have a little ethanol. But I don't mind it in this because there's so much underneath that it's delivering to you that I think it's okay. But if I had the option to pick a single barrel of this, I would go more for this profile, even if it was younger, if it was a 6, 7, 8 year, but it had more of this profile, more of this proof. I would prefer this over the 8-year, at least on the nose. Yeah, that's outstanding. It is intense. This one has more of almost like a creaminess to it, almost a little Boston cream kind of vibe, and almost like a Boston cream texture on the palate. Dang, man, that's good stuff. It's good. All right, now after the stream, check your DMs on Discord. Okay, Clay, I will do my best to remember, man. I'm not going to click it now because if I click it now, I won't see it later. Oh, they had a 45-year. Oh, my God. Clay, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. All right, let's go on now. Finally, this is Rare Character Exceptional Series Wheated Bourbon. I had been very curious about these, which is also rumored to be Smooth Ambler. The timing, like the age makes sense. West Virginia distilled makes sense. 128.8 proof, so basically the same as what I just tasted, although it's wheated. Same age, same proof, wheated. So you can tell it's wheated on the nose. It does have a softness to it. It has like that old Fitzy kind of softness. But at this proof, you do get the softness, which is like a spice thing, right? Like you've taken the rye out of the equation. So when you have wheat in there, you get the softness as a flavor or as an aroma. But because the proof is still so high, you still do get ethanol. So it's like softness, but delivered with a lot of ethanol. So there's a little, and that's always kind of a contradictory thing with certain wheated products, you know? And I think that's part of the reason why often they get proof down is because I think at lower proofs, wheated products feel more cohesive. Even though you've like thinned it out with water, you're not pitting ethanol against a soft flavor profile. You're just getting soft all around. That's kind of my theory about it. Now this has more of like a cinnamon stick, like crispy spiciness to the nose. As far as flavors go, or God, aromas, you know, as far as how it smells, crispy spiciness, but soft. But then there's all this ethanol and there's nuttiness in here too. I don't know whose pick this is. The palate absolutely just doesn't work though. I mean, and it's a single barrel, so it could totally differ between these barrels, but it misses the whole middle of your tongue. You get it up front, a lot of spice, more proof is what I want to say, more proof. So it hits you up front, then it goes completely away in the mid palate, comes back in the back end with a lot of sweetness, which is nice, fruity sweetness. Still that nuttiness, which I don't hate, but I just don't think that works at all. Like these other two that are like 1/3 to 1. Yeah, probably 35 to 25% of the cost of the Rare Character are way better. Like, and coming straight from the distillery. So for me, I wouldn't be buying one of these just based off this one sample. I wouldn't be buying a Rare Character Exceptional Wheated Bourbon. I also think they're vastly overpriced, what I've seen. But if you have the chance to get these Smooth Amblers, these 8 or 9 year founders, especially the 9, holy shit, this is good. And it's not really crafty. I don't think it has I expected a little craftiness from them. I don't know if it's pot or column stilled. Tastes like column stilled to me. Tastes fairly legacy. You know, there's a little hint of something where you go, maybe that's a little different. But it's not as crafty as, say, like the Jimmy Red stuff. Like that has way more craftiness than this does. Do you have the barrel number, Brian? Let's see. No, I don't. 128.86 proof is 9 year, 4 month. But yeah, I mean, just the price point makes no. It's the hype train, the rare character hype train. And choo-choo, I'm not on the train. Yeah, the original rare character exceptionals, the malts were Heaven Hill, and then there were some bourbons too, and I don't know what those were. They were nutty, so they were either like probably Beam or Heaven Hill. I know they had that relationship before the whole lawsuit thing or whatever happened. They had a relationship with Heaven Hill, so I would imagine they probably had. I would totally believe if those bourbons were Heaven Hill bourbons. Those also weren't very good. The first run of exceptional bourbons, totally lackluster. The first run of exceptional malts, though, those were great because those Heaven Hill malts are killer. All right, let's move on now to one last thing, which is going to be the rye. I just want to taste the Smooth Ambler rye, which will be a first for me. Yeah, Shapiro was part of the company. Yeah, that was messy, huh? I took some time, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, and I read through all the stuff online that I could find, all the filings and stuff. Very, very interesting. All right, let's go to this rye. So this is 6 years, 121.8 proof. Ooh, very different. This is like, that's a lot of lemon, it felt like up front. Oh, super sweet lemon starburst. Oh, wow. Okay, so you can tell it's a rye, but it is not like a dilly rye. And it's not even really like a minty rye. It's this more sweet lemon rye. I like this quite a bit. It's different. It's soft. It's like a really soft rye, which I appreciate because it makes it not feel as young as it is. And the sweetness helps that also. Wow. A little shorter finish than you would expect for a 6-year, 122 proof rye. I dig it. I think that's really nice stuff. I'm interested to see how this rye ages once it gets up to, 8, 9, 10 years old. I think it's fine where it is. You could probably find a banger barrel if they were doing picks of this. I don't know if they do picks of this Founder stuff. Smooth Ambler, I am now hot on the trail. I'm very, very interested in this stuff. Andrew P. Seems like a few 15-year Buckner's Buff Turkey barrels hitting soon for $3.50 a bottle. Worth it. Really depends, It's just like any other Buff Turkey thing. And listen, this is going to sound biased. Our Buckner's barrels are dropping in like 3 or 4 weeks. So it's going to sound biased for me to talk about this. But it's what I've said all along about Buffalo Turkey is there are more bad barrels and good barrels. When you go do these picks, you run into a lot of mediocre barrels, and it's just the reality of the people that bought them. They bought in some of them pretty decent quantities, and they're not all killers. So I think if you're going to spend that kind of money on any Buffalo Turkey, not just Buckner's, you really need to trust the person's palate who picked it. If it's a store near you or if it's a group that you're in, you have to know and have vetted that person's palate in accordance with your palate to make sure that you're confident in that purchase. So, for me, we picked 2 barrels. We found 2 great barrels, but it took a little bit of digging to find those 2 barrels when we were at Augusta. And that's just kind of the story that everybody has at every single place that got those barrels. $3.50, that's pretty average price. I think $3.20 is technically SRP, so it's not like you're getting railroaded on the price. Corey, how long have we been live? Not long, man. 25 minutes. Eric's talking about light whiskey. Man, I'm not a light whiskey guy. Have you done any tastings of the Penelope 17? No, I tasted the original release of their light whiskey. I don't remember how. I thought that was maybe 14 or 16. I can't remember the green label. And I don't like any light whiskey. So, I mean, some of it's fine, you know, but like the price that you start asking for hazmat 15-year, then you start seeing 150, 200, it's like I'm out at that. And I'm not an old cart or American person because there's light whiskey. It's not my thing. The rye is so strange, from a little Irish Spring note. It smells a little bit like Irish Spring. I don't hate it. That sounds like a bad thing. I don't hate that note. Terry, sipping the Circle City tonight. So flavor packed. Definitely drinks above its price point. Thank you, man. I'm going to talk about that right now. I know, guys, people don't like when I talk about picks in these live streams. I'm sorry. It is what it is. So I said we probably start the flight by 10:40. It's probably going to be more like 10:45, 10:50. So again, if you're watching it and you just want to watch the replay and you've stumbled upon this moment right now where I'm saying this, I will hopefully have put a chapter marking in the video. Showering in a waterfall. Irish Spring, says Joe. What are we talking about? Hardin's Claremont? Eric, yeah, I'm thinking I'm a pass too. The ones I've had really lack the oak backbone that I've come to. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get enough. For me, I'm never going to get enough oak on a light whiskey. At least not the oak that I like. Light whiskey oak is like, tastes like a candy shop smells, you know? I've just never loved that flavor profile. Even like in the early days of me getting into American whiskey, 5 years ago or whatever it was, 6 years ago. And when I had my first experience with light whiskey, and I was in the process of training my palate, especially during COVID, when I was staying up every night. I had no touring work at that point anymore, so I was like just laying out 12 glasses, 16 glasses, and just training my nose, smelling, tasting, all that kind of stuff. And I started to try light whiskey, even in those settings, back then, when I would see the age and I would see the proof, and I was like, holy crap, I never could get into it. The original Obtainium days, that's like right around that time. It was just never my jam. So I think from the jump, 270 seems outrageous for Hardin's Creek Claremont. Yeah. Secondary's lower than that, I think. Sure, your bottles will sell out before the lower tiers. The calculation on that is what? We got 180 bottles. We've got, if everybody in the upper tier bought both, which is the only tier that's allowed to buy both, if they all bought both, you're down, after the pick team buys, you're down to about 90 bottles left then. Then we have 73 right now in the next tier. So some of them are going to make it to the $10 tier, which is the tier the highest tier that's open right now. That's definitely going to happen. And it's not going to be a 100% buy rate. The highest buy rate I have ever seen in our Patreon is 75% in the upper two tiers. So if that's the case, if you go 75% on that, let's just assume that the upper tier, everybody buys both, which is not going to be the case, but let's assume. So that's like 60 bottles plus the pick team and me. So let's say that we sell like at most 75 bottles in that tier, and then in the $75 tier, let's just round it again and say that 57 people buy in that tier. So 132. So we're going to probably have 45, 50 bottles hit the $10 tier. Can we trust Buckners? They have them for what do you mean trust them? Because I'm sure they're trying to pick like really good barrels to release on their website. You know what I mean? But also they're dealing with that. Plus they're having groups come in. So there's probably a little bit of a dance on their end of like who gets the better barrels at what time. Agreed. Light whiskey is not worth the money spent. Way more bang for your buck elsewhere. Totally agree. The chapter marking will also be late. Hilarious. Cam drinking 16 whiskeys a night, calls it training. So did my uncle that died from liver failure. Yeah, there was a little rough patch there. I'll tell you that. I have an opportunity to get a buff turkey from Mash and Journey, and I trust the group's palate, but 350 seems like a gamble. It just depends. Like if you've agreed with Jason's palate up to that point, and like this is the way that I say it is, the quick and dirty way is if we all pick these barrels, right? And we like the barrels that we pick. We're not going to say bad things about our own barrels that we pick. I try to be real about it and be like, if you don't like X, Y, or Z, you're not going to like this. Or this one has kind of a shorter finish, but I like the profile so much that I still picked it. I try to be honest, but we all pick these barrels because we like them. So the first tell is like, have you liked most of what Jason has picked? If yes, then, buy it. And if second thing is like, if you typically agree with his flavor notes that he gives you, and like if he talks about drinking experience or something, and he says like 3 things that you don't usually like, if you don't like tobacco or cedar, and he maybe mentions those notes in something, and if you've typically aligned on that, then I would say avoid it if you find notes in the description that you don't like. But I think it all comes down to like, as the person on the other end of it, watching the videos and being part of those Patreons, like you almost have like you have to learn your own palate versus the person whose group it is, and see, if you have to make those judgments yourself. It's tough. I mean, I think it really is, because it's never going to be 100% either. You're never going to have a 100% success rate between those two things. What's up, Toshi? Oakley in the glass. Let's get it, dude. Come on. What are your thoughts on Found North Batch 11? Is that Hoverhawk? I think Hoverhawk's separate. I don't know if I have a Batch 11 sample. Someone sent me Hoverhawk. I don't know whose handwriting that is. It looks like Jesse's, but I can't really tell. Okay, I got to get out of this. You ever thought about doing a Sagamore pick? Yes, I would love to do one. Oh, Found North had a lottery this week. Okay, then definitely have not tried it. Thoughts on Rare Character Exceptional Weeded? Rewind. I just tasted it 20 minutes ago. I'm not a fan. At least this one barrel I got. All right, guys, listen. Shameless plug here. Number 1, please hit the like button. Number 2, we just dropped some picks last week. We have more coming next week, so we have a little crunch of all this. And because of that, because we have a lot of picks coming in a short amount of time, I want to say it's probably something like 800 bottles in like 7 weeks. So a lot for us. There's a few bottles left of 2 of these 3 barrels that I'm about to taste from Circle City. Okay, so these just came in. They're done. They're ready to go. First thing I'm going to taste, this is 126 proof MGP bourbon, 8 years, 9 months, 21% rye mash. This one's still available. I think there's like 5.5, 6 cases of that left, 6 packs. And then we have like maybe 1 case left of this, which is the toasted honey finished rye, something that I normally would never pick, but the balance was great. We got half a barrel. I love the profile in this. Honey's balanced, orange soda, Earl Grey tea, a little bit in there. Great kind of herbal rye. 6 years old, 115.1 proof. I love it though. We'll taste that. And then the one that's not available is this double oak that we did. We did this Watershed double oaked, which was a really cool whiskey. Tastes like fruit stripe gum. So anyways, real quick, now let me taste these very quickly. If anybody's interested, the link is in the description of the video. It'll say order Circle City bottles. Refresh the page if you don't see it, because I added it in the middle of this live stream. Anybody have these picks yet in the chat? Biba Zeki says, hi Cam, newer to the channel, wondering if you ever have or will do a pinhook pick. To be honest with you, I don't know if I've ever even tasted a pinhook bottle, maybe once. I'm a big fan of their vertical and 8-9 year picks. I would bet that's not true. I was thinking the colored top ones. I've definitely had the pinhook 8 year. I love the pinhook 8 year. I thought that was a great bottle. So if I could do a pick of one of those, I think they're 9 now, like you said, I would totally do a pick of that. But I don't know anybody, I don't know anything about pinhook, like as far as the people behind the scenes. I'd love to do a pursuit pick, dude, especially if we could find another cherry cola bomb. That was a great bottle. I just want to point out that Caskin points on the media list and Cam isn't. That's okay. I don't like Found North that much. I hate to say it, you know. Also, media lists just kind of make things a little messy. What's up, Brett? This nose on this bourbon is my jam. Thanks, man. Yeah, again, cream soda, poached pears, all that good stuff. Super sweet. Also a lot of spice. Like, palate is very powerful. And it was $85. It was originally going to be a little higher. We moved some of the prices around on the bottles to make things a little more even because I didn't want to go 90 on that. So we went 85 on that bottle. I think 85 is a fair price. Yeah, man. I get a little cocoa powder in the background the more that I smell it. But we just, again, Brett, like, I don't know about you. We picked this because of the way that it drinks. It just drinks so well. Greg, cannot believe how much I like the Watershed. Yeah, man, the Watershed, it's that secondary barrel. Did a lot of heavy lifting on this one. It smells like fruit stripe gum. It's crazy. Lofty. Yo, hope you've been good. Thanks, man. Hanging in there. Life is getting crazy with building a new house and everything. It's wild. And, just I'm in like the really, really, really early conceptual stages of thinking about opening up an NDP in Columbus. So very early stages, but I'm talking to friends and colleagues of mine who have a lot of experience in business planning and people that are connected to people that have money to invest in stuff like that. And we're talking NDP. We're not talking like a true distilling operation, which is not something I want to get into. But I'm in like the super early stages, just trying to get a feel for it, pricing things out, and it's exciting. Like, it's another thing to add to the plate, and it takes a while to get it off the ground, of course. But I'm looking at it thinking I have to do this. All right, so let's go on now to the honey toasted rye. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a honey person, and I like this. Brett, I might Brett the shit out of this. I love Brett as a verb. Guys, Brett just chugs down a barrel pick we did with Evernorth. He buys everybody's open bottles and stuff, and he just hammers these things. He loves it. Cracks me up. All right, honey toasted. Yeah. If you're going to honey finish something, I think you got to throw some toast in there too. Like a toasted stave. That's the way to honey finish for me. Because it doesn't get too sweet. You get enough spice from that stave. I think Brett is breading the MGP bourbon, actually. I don't think he was talking double oak. Eric, Claremont, if you can't get it for under $230, grab a Knob Creek 18 for under $200, unless you love the Claremont and you got to have it. I would probably agree with that. Yeah. You know what I wish they would do? I wish they would release like they did the 20-year at the distillery in the Bardstown collection. I wish they would just make that like a Knob Creek 20, because that bottle is amazing. 109 proof. Killer. All right, so yeah, last shameless plug, guys. If you want to check out a very high proof, I mean, considering that it's MGP, 126.1, 8-year, 9-month, $85. Link is in the description for that. And then the honey toast rye is like $74. And this one, yeah, probably like 6 to 8 bottles left of this. 115 proof. That's a crushable honey toasted rye. No, there's a Jim Beam 20 in the Bardstown collection. They just did one release. It was like probably 500 or 600 bottles, something like that. Circle City is the best Indianapolis whiskey at this time. Backbone is a close second. Circle City's working on a tasting room. Yeah, the tasting room's been coming along on the couple visits I've made, over there. Exciting. Indy is getting some solid whiskey here. Yeah, both great operations. Backbone, Circle City. Do the Baker's 13s come close to the Hardens? Not really. No, it's a weird middle ground between the hardened stuff and like the younger stuff. Which batch of KC18 is king? I have no idea. I really have no idea. All right, let's get into this blind. I haven't poured these out and labeled the cards, so this is going to be a little bit of a process here. I apologize. I had the best intentions of getting this done before the stream. West Fork. I've heard of West Fork. Oh, I have to do one more tasting. I got to do one more. Because I did not get to this last week on the stream. Let me move more things out of the way. the Bardstown Cathedral. I did not taste this last week. Yeah, what does it say here on the honey toasted rye? Well, yeah, we've only got 7 bottles of that left. There we go. 7 of that, and yeah, about 6 cases of the bourbon left. Nice. Here we go. Church whiskey. Slad, have you tasted the Cathedral previous to this? Yeah, twice, I think. That looks like about twice also. That tracks. So it's a really old blend of a lot of bourbon in here. Finished in these crazy French oak, 300-year-old French oak barrels. 14 months. I don't love French oak all the time. I think a lot of times people put really young whiskey in French oak. They blow it out of the water with these insane, like, mocha chocolatey notes that turns rubbery if you leave it in too long. French oak, to me, is a very volatile barrel in the sense that there are, like, when I was at Circle City, actually, they had Heaven Hill stuff sitting in French oak, and we tasted 3 of them, and they were so freaking different. Even the ones that were rebarreled on the same day. And the whiskey itself, I think, came from a tote, actually. So it was like the exact same whiskey, and you were able to smell the differences between those 2 barrels, rebarreled on the same day, it was crazy. So French oak, to me, is a little crapshoot. I think you got to monitor it very closely. Some people love it when it's overfinished, like the Bomberger's PFG. That is so not my thing. So that's the preface for the Cathedral French oak, which is 110.1 proof. Junior, don't ask me how, but I just spilled my DD4. Is that a euphemism? What does that mean? Did you actually just spill it? Lewis says, can you maybe blind your Buckner's 15s versus the River Roots before the drop? Yeah, I'm hoping that I can get them here before the drop. That's the goal moving forward. The answer is yes. If I can get them here, I'll definitely taste them side by side. You said blind him. Ooh, that's risky, huh? No, I could blind him. For sure, I could blind him. I have a feeling I know how that's going to go, but we would see in the moment for sure. Bourbon Bill, bro, you are crazy. PFG is a fucking disaster. That's a disaster whiskey. No, it's so overfinished. Oh, man. All right, Bourbon Bill. I got to ask you a serious question. No, I don't even know if that applies. I was just thinking about, like, a food that you might like. Like, do you over-season your food? Because actually, I over-season my food and I don't like PFG. But my theory is that, like, that flavor is so blown out of proportion that it's... I don't know. Theory's dead. PFG was not fly, says Brian. All right, Cathedral French Oak. Wow. It has like a torched orange thing going on here. It is chocolatey like you get from French Oak. It does not smell rubbery to me, though. And I will say this. I think this has improved a lot with air. That's always a cop-out thing to say. But when it comes to stuff like this, when you have double barrelings, air really does help. So does water. I think some of the oak has blown off of this a little bit. Yeah, because I'm getting like a little plummy, little kind of plummy thing, torched orange, this chocolate. Is it? It's pretty velvety chocolate, I would say. Like, it smells kind of soft. It's got a lot of complexity to it, I think, considering that it's rebarreled into French oak. Often, if you blow it out of the water, then you're going to get a very singular note coming out of the glass. I think I can find layers in this. There's like a little maraschino cherry thing in here. All right. All right. So the palate to me is more finished than the nose. I still think this is really good. It's root beer. It's chocolate. It's definitely mocha. It's got a little coffee influence to it. But it's more of a one-note thing on the palate for me than it was on the nose. I like the nose better than the palate. Finish is not crazy long on this one. Teeny bit dry, which French oak will definitely do that. But it's not too tannic, I don't think. So, I like it. I think this whiskey is not worth anywhere near what people ask for on secondary. Oh, Ben, thanks for the super chat, man. We haven't had a super chat in a long time. Once we started to stop doing the giveaways, no more super chats. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, so you say the Cathedral's better than the Amaro Nannino. I have a sample of the Amaro Nannino over there. I need to get to this flight, though. Yeah, I think this is fine at SRP. That's the most I would want to pay for this. And you know that I like to overpay for things on secondary, but I'm coming back to the nose now, and I'm getting almost something dusty, which is cool. But again, I like the nose more than the palate. Almost a butterscotch thing on the nose. And a little, like I was talking about that plumminess that I get in here. Kind of reminds me of what I started the stream with, the 78 JW Dant. There's a little similarity in there. That's weird. I would drink this and enjoy this. Very cola now. I said root beer earlier. Brett, if you're still here, dude, this is your DD3 replacement, except it's way too expensive to Brett these bottles. Yeah. All right. I don't love it, but it's good. It's good. I think the finish being as short as it is kind of throws me off. It's time. It's time to get into this craziness now. Mike, I'll send you a sample of the quad. The River Roots Quad Oak that you can blind against your Buckners. Mike, I appreciate it, dude. Honestly, don't send me the Quad Oak. I've tasted the Quad Oak. It is not my jam because it has that finish on it, on the back end. That like weed brownie thing that you get from those malt barrels. That's not my favorite. All right. Got to make sure I get the good marker. One of these is good, one of these is bad, but for some reason I don't throw away the bad one. All right, so let's start doing this, guys. Here's what's going to go in tonight's flight, which we're finally getting to. So if you're watching the replay of this is right when I'm going to cut you into the flight. What we're going to be doing is 8 pours. Obviously, the one that we're really kind of stacking everything up against is going to be the Jack Daniel's 14. Now, I wanted to pick things that related to this as far as age and proof go. There's going to be some discrepancies, but that's fine. And then I also wanted to represent as many distilleries as I could. But someone also gave me the idea to throw in the Coy Hill, the most recent one, the lower proof, which is a great call. So thank you, Jason, for the sample of this. Jason Heineman in the chat. It's 123.3, a little lower than the Jack 14, but it'll be interesting to compare these because the Jack 14 secondary price is very high right now. We got Russell's 15 we're throwing in, the Jack Coy Hill. I'm going to put in an old school pick of Knob 15 because 120 proof, 15 years old, this is stats-wise right there. What else are we doing? For shits and giggles, River Roots 18-year. MGP, little lower proof. That might hurt it in this flight. We'll see. 117.91. We're going to go George T. Stagg in here also tonight. This is not a 24. I don't own a 24. I need to get one. I don't really want to pay $625 for it. But this is a 2020. All right? Now, here's the fun. Here are the two fun additions. Number one, first edition of the fun stuff. This is a King of Kentucky like infinity sample. So a lot of people ask if Jack 14 is better than King of Kentucky. I didn't have enough of a single King of Kentucky sample to do this, but what you see here, which is a little over an ounce, This is a 2019, which is probably the best I've ever had, maybe second best I've ever had. There's a 2022 in here, short barrel, which is freaking great, from Adam. And the 2019 was from Walker. And then there's a 2024 in here, which is the remainder of the media sample from last year that Matt Porter sent me. I don't get these, but Matt got this and sent me some of his. So this is the infinity of 19, 22, and 24 King of Kentuckys. And then I'm putting one of our picks to the test just for fun. And if it comes in last, I don't care, because this is a totally different thing. But this is our private stock blend from Limestone Farms. And I just want to throw it in this flight because I feel like it's 125 proof. It's 8 years old. It's weeded. But it's those Sapphire barrels from New Riff that are crazy and super dark. So I'm like, you know what? Let's see if this places anywhere above last place. If not, I still love this. It's still a great pick. But maybe it'll beat out one of these surprisingly. I don't know. But I haven't compared it to anything like this before. So now let me get to pouring. I have to pour out my limiting factors first, which are the samples, because I need to make sure the fill lines of all of these are the same. All right. So I'm going to write these cards while we do it. And then I have to mix them up on the table. This is going to be a little bit of a process. I appreciate your patience. Thank you, John, for the samples. Gosh, the membership gift, and Jeb too. Thank you, guys. Wow, Jeb, you did 2 of them. Holy crap, man! Thank you, Randall, for your bathroom fixtures. Well, maybe just the shower head. We skimped on the shower in the new place. They have like an owner's shower option, but it's like, you know, do we really need that? And honestly, we saw that option and it was not very much. It was not a big improvement on the other stuff. So we didn't go with that. And it saved like $8,000 or some stupid amount of money for the shower. I'm like, we don't need to do that. Oh, sorry about my handwriting on this one. This is bad. So we'll get a couple of these poured out, and then we'll go back and keep writing them down. All right. So the way this is going to work is like I'll just show you guys the cards as we go, and I'll mix these up in front of me. And I promise, when you have 8 of these in front of you, you really do not know. You really don't know which one is which. You lose track very fast. All right, so let's do the King of Kentucky blend first. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and pour a fat amount of this. Then I'll draw a little up arrow in the top right corner so that I know which way I need to write the letters on these cards. All right, so we got that done. Let's do the Limestone Farms private stock pick. Bourbon Bill, while JD14, while very good to me, doesn't beat the JD12. I think it will do middle of the road in this flight. Definitely good, but there are some real heavy hitters here. All right, so there's the private stock blend. I'm banking on getting more of this to write my tasting notes once we drop that, which I don't know. I still don't know when that's going to drop. It has been blended, though, which is great. So let's get Jack 14 in the glass. Jeb, gotta help you get that shower. It's done. We can't get it now. All right, Jack 14 is poured. Main event for tonight. So if you're hanging out tonight and you've had the chance to try Jack 14, I'm curious to know if you have compared it to anything like I'm comparing this to tonight, whether it's Russell's 15 or George T. Stagg. Be interested to know how these things did for you. So let's get some Russell's 15 in the glass now. I really should have done this before the stream. That's totally my bad. You live and you learn. Chris says, I'll reserve my notes till after, but did Jack versus Russell's 15 this week? What's up, dude? Yeah, that's. I have a feeling that for me, that Russell's is always going to win that battle, but I guess you never know. Josh says, wow, those canned Kentucky bottles can be lucky like that. That was a little heavy. We got to pour a little bit of that out. All right. It's got the knob 15 pick. We're almost there, I promise. Corey says, I own a residential construction company. Builders have great rates, but are always trying to upsell by 200% plus. Yeah. Yeah, there are some things that, they were telling us like, hey, just do this on your own. Don't do it through us. It's like, thank you for telling us that. That's a test card. What else do we need to get in here? We need to get GTS. Guys, so you're going to see... I'll just write River Roots out so there's no confusion with Russell's. River Roots 18, GTS 2020, and then Coy Hill is the other one. All right. Eric says, only King of Kentucky I've had is last year's wonderful cedar cigar box nose that was unlike anything I've had before, but palate and finish, not particularly mind-blowing. There are plenty, and I hate to say this, Eric, plenty of very average barrels of King of Kentucky. It just is the reality of that line. As much as I loved to own a bottle of it. Like when I spent that money, I think it was like maybe almost 3 years ago actually that I bought my King of Kentucky. It's gone now. I wanted to like it because I spent whatever $1,600 on it. It was not that good. It was a really good whiskey, but for that price and for being a King of Kentucky. Just didn't do it for me. All right. We've got one more to pour here. Bruce has hinted that there's something crazy coming in 2026. Oh, man. Don't tell me that. Actually, please tell me that. Because turkey is like the new king in town for me. Russell's 15. So good. All right, so everything's poured. I can get some of these bottles off the table. I'm going to leave the Jack 14 up here since that's the main event bottle. Now it's time to do a little mix 'em up. I agree with you on there being a lot of average King barrels. First time I tried it was a Port Evergreen. I tasted, was like, is this it? Oh, no. Yeah, because the first King of Kentucky I had was one that Ashton sent me. And Jesse, you've met Ashton, right, at the first River Roots pick. And the barrel that he sent me is still the best I've ever tried. I'd have to try it up against the one that Walker sent, the 2019. Ashton's was a 2020. Let's see. At this point, I'm just randomly kind of moving these things around. But that one was my first experience, and it was still the best. And it's not a nostalgia thing. I've tasted that barrel since then also, and it definitely holds up. Okay, I think we're probably mixed up enough. What's a good secondary price for JD 12 Batch 3? I think they're going for like $250 maybe. I don't know. Okay. Donnie, thank you for the super chat. Sherry peated or ex bourbon? I have some ideas for a killer Scotch flight for you. I'm a sherry biatch. I love sherry finish stuff. So if you want to go sherry, that'd be cool. I'd love to do a Scotch flight. Let's do it. Scotch Sunday. Which has been returning just like Matt Madness has been returning. Although Matt Madness is returning. So Scotch Sunday also needs to return now. All right. A, B, C, D. We'll start back over here. E. That was the worst F ever. Well, that's what she said. G and H. Let's do it. I'll show you guys as we go what's what. And I don't know if I'll take notes, but I'll have this out just in case. You're in luck. Sherry's in my wheelhouse. Let's go. Joe. That's funny, man. All right, Glass A. Here we go, Glass A on the nose. Jesus, right away. Right away, you're hit with something awesome. Man. All right, let me show you what's in Glass A. Here we go. I'll turn my head. Please, no spoilers in the chat, guys. Oh, my God. Have a feeling I know at least a parent company that this comes from right away. But boy, does it smell good. Super, super, like, molassesy, jammy fruits. Put this down now. Man. It smells old. These are all probably going to smell old. Very dark. Oh, man. The molasses sweet oak thing is so powerful on A. Molasses sweet oak. I'm going to write a note here. However, Glass A, it smells good. It's not blowing, like, the initial reaction to smelling something like this, whatever that is holy shit, that's awesome. And then as you start to pick it apart more, you're like, all right, you know, maybe it's not the most complex thing, actually. Let's go to Glass B. It's a good first impression, but it's not like, you know, it doesn't totally blow you away. All right, Glass B. Let me show you what's in Glass B. I'll turn my head here. This is more nondescript, I would say. I kind of want to taste these as I go. I kind of don't want to just smell them. We'll just do a quick smell on each. I don't know what's going on with Glass B. It's got this fruit note that kind of feels like it's in the background. Like I want it to be actually a little more present on the nose. But I'm also coming off a Glass A, which is so concentrated that, like, I can't tell if that's a product of just the side-by-side or if it's a product of that being a little mismatched in here. That's a tough call. Let's see. When I say background fruit, I'm going to write at the end. All right, let's go to Glass C. And this is a quick way for you guys to kind of start logging in your heads which one of these is which. Wow, this is tough. Actually, coming off of A, anything after A is smelling weaker. All right, let me show you Glass C. Here we go. This is like... This smells like MGP dark fruits, you know? It's got a really nice kind of blackberry grapey thing. But maybe not. It's also got some chocolate in here. It's not like a heavy oak bomb of a whiskey. It's more delicate. It's more fruity. All right, we'll put this down. All right, so I do like C a lot. Delicate. Fruity. Blackberry. GP-like. All right, let's go on to D now. What's going on here? That's amazing, man. Love that. What are you guys talking about? A 31-year Bennuaine. Probably one of the best scotches I've had. That's awesome. It's going to be an anniversary. What are you guys saying? Talking about scotch in here. I love it. Oh, what's this? Oh, Glass D is a little different. All right, let me show you what's in this one. 185 in here. Thank you, guys. Hit that like button, please. Here's Glass D. What is going on here? This is vanilla. This is vanilla and cherries. Like cherry Coke. It's a cherry Coke float. Wow. That smells really... D smells really, really good. Again, like, still not... A, there's just something about Glass A that is insane. But I think... B, C, and D. I think the proofs also are... I think A is a high proof, man. D and C stand up to A the best. I think B is like my... B is my outlier right now. I think B is the outlier. Let's go to Glass E. See what's going on here. Oh, I didn't write anything for D. What the hell did I say about D? Oh yeah. All right, let's go to E. Here we go. Here's E. Oh geez. This is like what the heck is this? This might have the most complete nose. The most complete nose since A. Let me put this down. It might have the most complete nose since A. Oh, that's a big spill. C is really starting to smell good and kind of dusty almost. B, still the outlier. A, fantastic. Just fantastic. But E has like... It has sweetness. It has dark fruit. It has a little tannin, like, you know, tannic kind of fruit skin kind of note. Wow, there is something about E that's crazy to me in this flight. Okay. All right, Glass F. Okay, here's Glass F. Glass F smells like Glass A. It smells weaker than Glass A. It smells simpler than Glass A. It smells more acetone than Glass A. Doesn't smell bad, but that's not my favorite. Smells kind of thin compared to some of these others. All right, let's go to Glass G. Ooh. Ooh. Glass G is nice. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, so Glass G is like... Reminds me of A and F. But it's got this almond note to it. It's very rich. It's super chocolate. And there is some banana. There is like Bananas Foster. But it's just a chocolatey, oaky monster, Glass G. It feels dense and rich and cooked down. All right, let's go to Glass H now. Last one. I can probably tell you which one this is, like, straight up. I'll write it down. I'll write it on this paper. I won't say it out loud. I don't want to spoil anything. But this is like honey. It's really nice, like sweet honey, sweet oak, sweet leather. Dig it. Dig it, dig it, dig it. So for me on the nose, I'm gonna write chocolate for G and for H. Here, I'll write it real big right here. my H guess. I'm not trying to guess these, by the way. I'm putting these in an order of preference. So glass H, although I think I don't know. I don't know if I have guesses. Some of these are actually pretty confusing. Yeah, some of these are pretty confusing. H is honey, cherry, leather. It smells great. Let me look at the chat now. That was the first nosing round. All right. So let's see. I'm gonna. Let's see. Terry, they have $10 wood for double oaked. No, okay. Let's see. I didn't just scroll. Acetone, yuck. Is that a 2020 GTS? Aiden, I don't know when you said that, but shut up. No spoilers. I know there's a 2020 GTS in here. Maybe Aiden could also be behind, and it could be on the table, and that's why he's asking. Because I thought I wrote GTS 2020 on the card for where that is. All right. I love you, Aiden. All right, let's go now. Let's taste these. My order and on the nose, preference-wise, let me do that real quick. A is definitely in first. You know what's definitely going to be close to last or last is F. F is not it. So it's between F and B for last. No, F is definitely last. B is way better than F. And I had a hard time with B earlier. It's coming out of the glass now a little bit more now. I said that was a terrible sentence. D, nice. Let's see, C again. Okay, C's. I said earlier, C was starting to smell a little dusty. C's got something going on. That's nice. It's tame, though, compared to these others. D is good, but it's kind of average. I'm going to take... I'm taking E over D all day on the nose. E is in the top. G is definitely in the top. So A, G, and E are definitely top for me. F is just not it, man. Let's see, H. I like H a lot. How much does proof matter? You know what I mean? On the nose, especially like jumping out of the glass. Just on this nosing order, how much does how much it hits you matter? Let's do a comparison. H, which I said was like the honey cherry leather, and E, which I was just like, this is just fruity and weird and complex. These are, they actually smell they smell close in a weird way. H and E. E is a teeny bit more sharp on the nose. Well, I don't know. H feels like a higher proof, but E feels sharper, if that makes sense. But E's darker, and I like the darkness. All right, I'm going to tie those two, I think, probably. I'm going to put D below them. Although D smells good. Yeah, D is going to go below them. All right, so I think my order now. Yes. B is going to be in 7th. F is going to be in 8th. I said I'm going to tie E and H. Well, the tie is going to be incorrect as far as the numbers go, but that's okay. E and H are a tie. G is probably going to be... What is D? C is going to be up there. I'm going to do C versus G. Sorry, we're getting there. I like C over G actually on the nose. G jumps out at you more, but C is just profile wise amazing. So I'm gonna go C in second. I'm gonna go G in third. I'm gonna say E and H are, 4 and 5 tied. And then 6th is going to go to D. All right. So I got my order. I'm going to taste these in my order from least favorite to favorite. All right. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, someone make it. Jody, come on with the palate correction. Come on. Oh, Aiden's skipping through to catch up. So maybe that was maybe you put it on the screen whenever I had GTS 2020 out, and that was really bad timing. That's funny. All right, so let's start with my least favorite, which is F. So I'll show you this as I sip it. Here we go. Cheers, guys. This nose is not it. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a little fudgy. It's got some darker like black cherry notes and fudge to it, but there's this intense acetone note. It's sharp. It has a short finish. It's thin. Like, that is totally the last place on the palate for me too. And I've only tasted one whiskey. Like, I just don't think anything else is going to be as unimpressive as that one is. So yeah, I don't know, but I think that's going to stay. All right, next up, I'm going to taste B. Let's taste B and see what this is all about. This was one that was confusing. It was kind of a lull for the second one out of the gate coming off of A. Let me show you B again as I sip it. All right, here we go. Oh, the nose didn't do this thing justice. The palate, it's a soft and like kind of lower proof whiskey, it feels like. It's kind of like earthy oak, a little earthy outdoorsy oak. That note that I got on Remus Gatsby, not the most recent one, the one before it. Was it 2023 then? Remus Gatsby. Like the fall leaves note. Like you go outside and you're walking through like freshly fallen fall leaves. That has that note. It feels like there's a lot of like rye influence to the whiskey at a lower proof. So this has a really hard time for me right now standing up to some of these other ones. B, I do like it. I could see this actually beating some other things on the palate, but the nose, I do think I placed it correct in 7th. But I'm gonna put a question mark next to it because I don't know. I am gonna put a star next to Glass F because I know that's gonna be in 8th place. But this one I should come back to that one. So in 6th place I had Glass D. I said this was a cherry vanilla bomb on the nose. It's turning more into like, I mean, shit. This smells great. Glass D smells great, but it's kind of closed off. It's not expressing itself well out of the glass on the nose. You have to kind of dig in and try to find what's going on here. There might be some nuttiness in here, but it's not a lot. All right, here you go. Let me show you Let me show you what Glass D is. Here we go. It's very good. It's tons of leather in this. It's like, it's such a great representation of old whiskey, whatever that is. It's super classic. It's not unbelievably impressive in any way. It feels like you've just taken old classic whiskey profile at a really nice proof and you've just put it into a box, and you kind of compressed everything about the whiskey into a box and just delivered it. And it needs to get out of that box and it can't for whatever reason. That's Glass D. That's really good. I need to see which one I like more, B or D, before we move on. B is just too soft for this flight. It's just too soft. I love the flavor profile on the palate. The nose, not that impressive. in the grand scheme of things. But I think D, yeah, D is just doing more right now. And I love those classic. Oh man, it is classic. It's so much leather, and lots of oak, lots and lots of oak. Okay, that's gonna go over. It's definitely gonna go over B. So I'm gonna, over B. So I'm gonna write over B, because who knows? It still could get shuffled in this order. Okay, but oftentimes for me, and this is how barrel picks go too, I would say that I'm like 90% of the way there, just off the nose. Like, my results do change from nose to palate sometimes, but it's not as common. Like, and I like that, actually. I like that I can be, at least for me, I can be accurate on the nose with things. As far as like identification and preference when it comes to something like this, it's helpful to be able to do that on the nose. Also because you don't have to drink as much. But I'm sure things will shift in here, but so far they've remained pretty consistent, which is nice. So let's go on to number 5. So we had a tie for 4 and 5 here. This was the tough one. Glass E and Glass H. Let's get into Glass E first. Glass E has this like crazy, I mean, it's almost like Armagnac-y. It's got this brandied fruit note to it. It's so different than, I mean, in some ways, actually, it reminds me of B. If B was way more intense and rich coming out of the glass. I mean, this is crazy. Whatever the hell this is, I hope it drinks well, because the nose is awesome. All right, here we go. So Glass E. Whoa. Jesus, dude. It is, so this is the first whiskey that has like, this has tannin to it. Like, this is a Cabernet of whiskeys. This has like real serious structure to it. I don't think it's too much, but it has some grip, I will say, on the palate. That is delicious. Holy shit. What I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around is the fruit note in this. It doesn't, like, well, let's see. Let's go to H, because I thought these had a relationship. E is darker on the nose. Let's do H now. Sorry, I got to show you H. Here's H. Ooh, that's very good. Higher proof. This is maybe the highest proof that I've tasted so far. Oh, man. So that does not have the same grip as Glass E. No, this is cleaner. This is a cleaner profile, cleaner fruits, cleaner vanilla and honey. I almost, like, you could say caramel, but I think this is definitely more honeyed. And then leather on the back end. No real oak to speak of. If there's oak, it's sweet oak, and it's totally blended in with the profile. It's not like a standalone thing. Fuck, it's good, though. Dang, that's so good. Ooh. Oh, this is tough. I love the way that drinks. Because it's clean, it's like refreshing and sweet and delightful. All right. And the finish of this is going for a while. Let's go back to E. Okay. I just don't know what this is. It's like black currant or something. Like, I'm trying to figure out the fruit note in here. All right, let's do another sip. Still grippy. A very grippy whiskey. And kind of dirty, a little dirtier than H just overall. That has like a lot of like personality to it. Glass E, whereas H is just, it's just what you want, you know, at any time of the day, any time, anywhere, any place. Glass H is what you want. E is like, you kind of got to be ready for whatever this is. I like funky and weird whiskeys, so that's why I'm so drawn to E. And this is not funky. This is just like, just different than what I've had so far in this flight. It's hard to say where to go with these because I think the tie is right on. They're less related than I thought they were when I first nosed them. Now it's like the differences are very clear on the palate. I got to come back to those and figure this out, but I like them for like totally different reasons. Okay. So next would be glass G, I think, right? So I've tasted. I had C in second on the nose. Jesus, that got better. Glass C got better on the nose the longer these have been poured out, whatever that is. So glass 3, sorry, glass G, which is my third place. I need to taste this now. So let's see. This is, and they're all dark. So here we go. Show you what this is. Glass G. Yeah, I think I probably said this is like really chocolatey. All right. I can put this down now. I'm deep in thought. Glass G. I really like the nose. The palate is great. It's delicious. The finish fell off faster than I thought it would, based on like the beginning of the palate and how that was drinking. I think this might get lowered. I'm going to move straight on to glass C, which I had in second place. I'll come back and try to figure out what the heck's going on with E, G, and H at this point. All right, so let's go to C. What do you guys say? Andrew says, me and my buddy split your pick from Circle City. It's our first pick, no pressure. Well, I hope you enjoy it, man. This was, which one did you get? Did you get the rye or you get the bourbon or the double oaked? I don't know if you bought it tonight or not. So if you bought it tonight, then the double oaked was obviously gone. But all right, here's glass C. This has, again, consistently gotten better on the nose the more I've come back to it. It is like just this weird, dusty fucking fruit monster. This is going to suffer the same... Oh, it's so good. It's going to suffer the same way B suffered, where it feels like maybe just from a pure proof perspective, it's not quite holding up to whatever else is in here, but the flavors are so good in that. Man, this is really, like, it's funny that in this flight, the bottom made itself very obvious right away, even on the nose, palate followed. And now let's see if the top made itself obvious, because I don't, like, even second place, I'm debating. I'm debating the whole shakeup between 6th and 2nd place at this, or 5th and 2nd place at this point, because I think, well, I don't know. D, the one that I said, is really in a kind of in a box. The D in a box. Let's go. That could move up. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The nose was easy for me. The palate is not as easy as the nose was. Dude, glass A. What the fuck is glass A? This is... Well, I'm pretty sure I know what glass A is, but... God. I mean, come on. Yeah, okay. So King of Kentucky is the best one on the flight, right? I'm not even gonna. This is the winner, and it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna show it right now. There you go, King of Kentucky blend. This is insane. This is, and listen, this, like I told you, I'm not revealing all of them right now, but I can reveal this because I know what it is. It's the best one here. It's not close. It's a blend of the 2019 sample, the 2022, and the 2024 sample. This shit is fucking insane. This is insane whiskey. Way better than anything else here. So there you go. That can just live off there. I'm going to just let that sit. Because I'm going to finish my night with that. Amazing. And it's funny that, like, they actually blended that well together. But they did. Because it does not always work that way. Joe, so it was, I would say it was like a half, a quarter, and a quarter. The half was the Epic 2019 barrel, so that's the foundation. And then a quarter was the 2022, which was also an Epic barrel. And then a quarter was the really lackluster 2024 media sample. But that is the king. That is absolutely, and it's very obvious. When I first smelled that, I knew what it was. So there you go. Okay, so let's get back to business. I could sip that all night. I got to figure out what the heck is going on the palate. And I'm going to start with D, the classic in the box whiskey. I'm going to start with D versus G on the palate. Let's shake this up. Okay. That is so in a box, you know? Dane says, just got to say, you better open up some more $25 and $50 tiers. No, we got to shrink them. I want more bottles to make it to the $10 tier. That's the goal. Even though they make them right now almost always, but I want it to be even better for the $10 tier. Okay. Which one did Andrew get? Oh, there's 2 Andrew Patricks here? Holy crap. You got the bourbon. All right. So, yeah, I'm curious what you think, man. It's the whole goal of going to Circle City was to find really great whiskey at a price point that was, like, more palatable for people, you know, because we do a lot of $120, $150, $200, $350 picks in the group. And there's always that kind of rumbling of like, hey, we need to do more value picks. We need to do more affordable picks. And so that was the goal of going to Circle City, was like, let's find the best whiskey we can at a price point that's under $100, really 85 and under. So that was the goal. And I felt like that MGP bourbon, that 21 rye bourbon, which 21 rye is a very overlooked mash bill. And you know what? Kind of in some ways deservedly so, because the 36 mash is amazing. At a lot of ages, not just older. Like even young 36 can be great. And young 21 is more of a challenge. But I thought this 8 or 9 month 21, the way that it drank, I was like very impressed by that. So it's a lighter, sweeter profile because of the cream soda notes. It's not super dark and not as fruity as the 36, but I thought that it was killer. So interested to hear what you think. Oh, Walker. It was a 2020 sample? So I thought it was a 2019. I had Sarah pull the email up earlier, but she was the one looking at it, not me. And I said, hey, is it 2019? And she said, yeah, because I thought it was 20. Maybe it was 2020 then. Jeez. See, Walker, knowing you probably got a couple different ones. So 2019. So you said 2020, which would make this, because the one that Adam sent was the 22. The one Adam sent was the 22. I had matched 24 media sample. And then yours I thought was the 19. But if it's a 20, then it was a 20, 22, 24 blend. Either way. Because I remember, actually, you know what, Walker? That sample was the one that was in the 12 Drams of Christmas, and I remember saying, oh, I haven't had a 2019 yet. But that barrel is either the best or top 2 that I've ever had of King of Kentucky. Easy. All right, so I said I wanted to taste, I tasted the in-the-box whiskey, and I wanted to put it up next to G. Very different profiles here. G is more expressive out of the glass. D is more reserved. Got to go G on that. Got to go G on that. So this is the one that just won out, whatever G is. Over D. All right. On the palate. So that's good because on the nose, that's what I had. I had G over D by 3 places. All right. Now, let's do H to D. I'm reducing sip size now. I'm starting to feel a little bit. Holy crap. H is a very high proof compared to some of these others. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be easy. Yeah, H wins for sure. All right. D is oakier by a long shot, but H wins, which is what I had. All right, so now I think D can definitely live in 6th place like I had it on the nose. Oh, it was 2019. Bought it at John O's in Elizabethtown. Those are the details. 64.65%, 15-year single barrel, 116 bottle barrel. That's actually crazy because it drinks more like a short barrel to me. Walker, that barrel's fucking awesome, man. Awesome. Listen to Brian in here knowing his barrel numbers of King of Kentucky. Listen, Brian. Some of us do an 8-pour blind of really good whiskey, and then others know barrel numbers of King of Kentucky. So there's levels to this, and you're on the you're one level at minimum above me on this one. Okay, let's taste. So we're done here. We're done here. So I'll turn these so that I can remember that. We're done here also. We're pretty much done with D, but I gotta just make sure. So let me taste E again. This is the one that had that like tannic grippiness. 8 and 116 isn't a ton out of King of Kentucky at that age. That is actually a pretty high yield. Like our Still Austin pick had 126 in it, and that was with water continually added to the barrel to, you know, the slow water reduction they do. And that was 5 years old. I know it's Texas, but like the MGP Rise that we've been picking, we just got one that was 125 bottles, and it's 12 years old. So 116 out of a 15 year is actually quite a lot for King of Kentucky. E is starting to get this vanilla cream note. God, dude. It does, yeah. I said it was kind of brandied earlier, like brandied fruits. It has a little bit of that like Rancio Armagnac-y walnut, like slight walnut fruit skin, and it has that grip to it. Damn, dude. All right, so this is what's in E, and I have to figure out where this goes over, like with D. Oh, those are really close. Those are really close. Like for very different reasons. E is more intense, more brash in your face. Just E has more personality. D does not. D is more even keeled, more balanced. E gets better on a second sip. I think first sip is jarring because it's just a different experience than whatever these are. Second sip gets better. It's not as aged oak, but it still has a lot of oak. It's just not as leathery. I'll do one more sip, see if it gets even better with the third sip. So the tannin, like the grippiness, to me, it's not stacking on sip to sip. It's actually getting more drinkable the more that I take these sips. So I got to go with E over D. Those are close. And what did I have earlier? I had E. That's right. So now I just have to make the decision. Do I like H or E better? I probably like H a little bit better. Brett says, my King Kentucky is 51 to 71. So 71 bottle barrel. Yeah. 71 is like, that's basically like buff turkey, slightly shorter buff turkey numbers. Yeah, so that's kind of a short-ish barrel. Oh man, H is so good. Yeah, H is going to win that battle. And proof alone makes a big difference there. And then what do we have left? G. We have G and C left. All right, so we're almost there. We are almost there. So I've got C in my hand now. Another reminder of what C is. Damn. Again, the proof hurts it, but the profile, you can't argue with the profile. So 1, 2. All right, I have a couple final things to figure out here. Thank you guys for hanging out and watching this. It gets a little tedious here at the end, so I appreciate you sticking through it. What's up, Mojo? And another shameless plug. We have a link in the description of the video. A couple barrel picks left on Bourbon Outfitter. Honey toasted rye and an MGP 8-year, 9-month bourbon. If you want to get your hands on one of those. It will automatically add 5% off to your cart if you go through the link in the description. All right, so I got to figure out now with G and H. So a reminder of G is this. Felt like this fell off on the finish a little bit more last time I had it. It's good. Good. Okay, and then H. Yeah, H wins. H wins out of that on the palate. Excuse me. So we have to give priority here to the palate. The nose was like more of an informational thing for me. I'll factor it in if I need to, but I want to go off the palate. Yeah, H definitely beats G. So then the question is, does H beat C? I don't know. See you, Terry. Thanks for being here, man. The profile on C, I like way better than the profile on H. But it's like, there's got to be a big proof difference between these. God, that's so good. C is so good. I think most people would probably put H over C. Here's C. Here's H again. Sorry, H. I think most people are going to put this over C. It's hard not to because the way they drink. I'm going to cop out. I'm going to tie them. Should I tie them? How's the finish on C? It's short, but it feels like it's a proof thing, not a structural thing with the whiskey, you know? Man, it's tough. All right. Commit, Cam. Come on, Tom. I'm trying, man. So that was H. God, it's great. I mean, the finish is long. It's a great whiskey. But the profile on C, when do you get this profile? Like, when do you ever get a whiskey that tastes like this? It's more even keeled. I gotta go C. A, C, H. Got to figure out E and G, and then my order is set. So G versus E. So this is like chocolatey. G is chocolatey, but the finish fell off. And then E is that like that same kind of Armagnac-y dark fruit thing. All right. Water, and then we figure this out. Jeb, did you do more memberships, dude? What did you do last night? I watched a guy blind 8 bourbons till midnight. Sorry. Thank you, Jeb. Dude, thanks for that. Gosh. All right. E, G, here we go. I like the nose on E better. Okay, I'm going to sip G first. Excuse me. Good Lord. All right, here we go. G's very good. It's so balanced. It's great until you get to the finish. The finish for me is not working. There's a little grassy note to it, which I know I'm sensitive to that, I know, but for some reason I've increasingly been picking this up on Glass G, and the finish is short, and I've complained about that this whole time. All right, so E, I like the nose on this better. But it is drier, you know, so it's like, if there's a tie, it's this. This is like the breaking point in the flight for me of not knowing what to do. From a flavor profile standpoint, here's my tiebreaker. From a flavor profile standpoint, I like Glass E better. It's just more my flavor profile. I think most people would prefer Glass G because most people are not as sensitive to the grassy note. That's just a weird thing about me in the finish. And even though I think it has a shorter finish, I think it's probably more of a crowd pleaser, Glass G. For me personally, let me do one last sip of E. Yeah, that's like that. Those notes are my jam. For me personally, I'm going to put E over G. Other people would likely reverse these. This is probably a breaking point in opinion and subjectivity in the flight. All right. So that means that A is the winner. Second is C. I have to work my way to this point. I said last is F. I said seventh is B. Sixth is D. That means I got to go to 5 next. 5 is 5 G? If 5 is G, then 4 is E, because I put E over that. And then I put H in third. Yeah, that, holy shit. Okay, so things did shift quite a bit here. Things did shift between E, G, and H, which is like the thing. Those were the ones I was torn between. The nose and the palates of those were different. What's up, Matt? All right. So I'm going to reveal these. I already revealed the King of Kentucky as the first place. Let's go to last place. All right. Guys, should I take guesses? What do you think? Is it worthwhile to take guesses on what these are? I could go through and nose these one more time and try to just think like what each one of these is. The King of Kentucky stood out like a sore thumb. But the order's set. So I'll just go down the line. So we had King of Kentucky. It's obvious. B, River Roots 18. It has that MGP. It feels like a lower proof but high rye whiskey. It's dark. C, Russell's 15. But in this blind, if that is Russell's 15, it's weird in this blind. It's like, yeah, it's weird. So Russell, I'm going to say that's Russell's 15, but it behaved strangely in the blind. Glass D, this one was I said in the box. I got a little nuttiness, but not too much. But if I get any nuttiness, I think Heaven Hill or Jim Beam. I forgot to put Heaven Hill 17 in this fucking blind. Oh, no. I got to change the thumbnail. Crap. I totally forgot. Oh, man. All right. Well, that's unfortunate. So then that's a giveaway. That's got to be a Knob Creek pick. Dang. Okay. Well, crap. E. What's left? Coy Hill, Private Stock, GTS, and Jack 14, the star of the show. I think E is probably Private Stock, given the dark fruit notes. All right, PS. F. I think F is... That's probably the Coy Hill, because it was so aggressive and acetone and weird. I think G is Jack 14, and that means that H is GTS. And I wrote that earlier. Is this too bright? You can see GTS. I wrote it on that page. That's what I wrote earlier. So let's see how this goes. In 8th place, this just didn't do it. Glass F, I said it's Coy Hill. What? Oh, holy shit. I did not see that coming. And that was an easy last. Oh my God. So Coy Hill is that much better than Jack 14. I knew that G and F were both Brown Foreman with King of Kentucky. It's obvious on the nose, but like, I guess I just suspected that the one that drank higher proof and better was probably the Jack 14, right? Okay. 7th place. Glass B. I would stand on this. That's got to be River Roots 18. Yeah. It's just not going to do well in this flight. You know, it's lower proof. I love that bottle. It's not like it's worth what the cost was, like $300 maybe, $275. Secondary stupid, $750. Don't do that. Really good, but it's not good in this flight. It just doesn't. It just does not blind well, that whiskey. Glass D is in 6th place. This was the one that was in the box, very classic. I said it was a Knob Creek pick because I got that nuttiness and that leather. There you go, Knob Creek pick. This is a great whiskey, and it does everything that I want an old whiskey to do at the proof point that I would like it to be bottled at, but it also is in that box. Number 5, which is Glass G. So this has got to be the Coy Hill then, because I reversed them. There you go. It's the Coy Hill. The Coy Hill is remarkably, this single barrel, it is a single barrel, is remarkably better than Jack 14. I cannot believe Jack 14 literally came in last in this flight. But you can't go wrong with any of those bottles by themselves. I would say that's accurate, except that I'm surprised that Jack 14 was so egregiously, I don't want to say bad, but it just stood out as not, like it can't compete with these other ones in this flight. I don't know why. I think Jack 12 is the best one that came out this year. This is a 2024 Coy. It's 123 proof, 123.3. Yeah, no, Jack 14 is not it's not worth 700. All right, next up, that was in 5th. So 4th place I had as E, which I said, well, E is the one. I said all the brandied fruit. I said this one was like, this had some like tannin in it, and I said it was the private stock. There you go. So this, listen, I wanted to include this because we did this private stock blend last month at Limestone Farms. It hasn't come out yet, and if this got last place in this flight, I would not have been mad. So it's like, it's a win-win for me in the sense of, let's just test one of our picks, in this case a blend, against insane heavy hitters and see how it does, because I felt good about this blend, number one, when we did it. But if it came in last place, I wouldn't be mad. Last place to Coy Hill and Jack 14 and GTS and Russell's and King of Kentucky, I'll take last place if it's 8-year weeded bourbon, you know? I feel really good about this blend. My only complaint, which I had in this flight, is that it has a lot of tannin. So if you don't like that, it is probably not your jam. I think it's a great blend. I have a little bit left, like 1 sip left. I'll pour it. I'll revisit that in a second. And this is just our dummy blend. It's not the final blend. After they go through and actually do the entire thing, I'm excited that ended up in 4th, I guess. So for me, that's very good. It's not a perfect whiskey, but I thought that it did more for me than, like, the Knob Creek 15 was in a box, and so to me that it didn't shine in any way. It just felt contained. The Jack 14, obviously in last. The River Roots was too tame, and the Coy Hill was really good, but I prefer the profile of the private stock. But I think other people would probably prefer the Coy Hill to this. If you're a Jack fan, you're going to prefer Coy Hill to this private stock blend for sure. I don't have any problem with that. I'm happy that this landed where it did. Very cool. So next, in 3rd place, it's got to be GTS, right? GTS 2020 and H. Yeah, this is an amazing batch of GTS. Yeah, come on. And then in 2nd place, that's Russell's 15 then. And this got better on the nose throughout the entire flight and better on the palate, and I think it's probably because it was a fresh cracked bottle. I cracked it right at the beginning of the stream. It probably needed some air. So there you go. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, even if they're wrong, says Trey. Well, what's your opinion then? When is Limestone dropping? I don't know yet. I don't know. I have the chance of picking up JD14 at SRP tomorrow. No, buy it. 100% buy it. Because I thought that I thought that Jack 14 would be in the top 3 of this flight before I went into this. I have tasted Jack 14 several times now. I mean, the bottle's down to here. I've sampled a lot of this out, but every time I've tasted it, I've loved it. In this flight, it just did not hang, which is crazy to me. But I would at 150, I would buy that. Yeah, no problem. How do you think GTS 24 would have done tonight? Probably the same as 2020. Probably the same. Or it would have... I think I would have still picked it over the private stock, though. Yeah. Probably the same. Jeb says the Limestone blend beats out the 115.5. Yeah, I agree. I think it does. It's just that these private stock blends have so much tannin to them, and when we blended that, we were trying to reduce tannin. There was one barrel that we were working with out of the 5 that we had to blend with. One was just like a tannic bomb, and we kept trying to use it, and we could not use it in any proportion that would not just like completely kill the blend. So we went with like the sweeter barrels and the cola barrels and all of that, and we still ended up with this whiskey that has a lot of tannin to it. So I'm glad we did not use the barrel that was just only tannin. But it's just a different style of whiskey than most of what else is in here. You know, actually, it's just different than everything. It's 8 years old. It's much younger. Same proof, but even though it's a dark color, the profile's very different. How would the straight private stock have finished tonight? I don't know. You also have to keep in mind that the private stock that comes out of Limestone, it's always proofed down just a little bit. So ours is coming out at cask strength, which is like 125. And The regular private stock is like between 113 and 115. It's in like a tight window. Yeah. Ours is way more intense on the nose. This is the 115 batch. I believe 115. Yeah. And this was always my favorite batch. It's even darker and even more tannic on the nose. Ours has more vanilla, a little bit, it's more vanilla cream. I actually talked about that. More brandied fruits. And now here's the regular 115 proof private stock. It is darker. It's darker fruit. But softer. Very good. Crushable compared to ours. It probably would have finished just underneath it for me. I prefer our blend to this by just a little bit. You have a few old Fitzes back there. They don't compete. Not in this flight. 100 proof, not going to compete. But I have the 13-year and the 17-year, which is right there. Was it just the acetone note that was off in the JD14? Could you fix that with water or froth? Let's see. Dude, it is so much acetone. Let's see a little bit of water. All right, so a little water first. Let's see. Coy Hill is so much better. It's crazy. It's a single barrel, though. Actually, the water made a big difference in this. A very big difference. Huh. It's showing more age now with water. I think maybe they should consider watering this down. I hate to say that about something at cast strength, but maybe you bring this down to 121, 120 proof. I think it might do a little bit better. But there's obviously a lot to be said about putting anything out at cast strength. Yeah, that got way better with water. Way better. And now for the final step for Jesse. All right, let's go. Patrick, you did see it, and I forgot to pour it. I'm an absolute idiot, and I'm going to change the thumbnail after this stream. I completely forgot to pour Heaven Hill 17. If I had to guess, Heaven Hill 17 probably would have finished in third place above GTS 2020. That is totally my bad. I'm an absolute idiot. So there we go. God, the frother's so good. All right. All right, here's the suggestion. 4 drops of water in a pour this size, which is probably, that's an ounce. 4 drops of water in your Jack 14. Give it a 5-second froth. Then it's awesome. Ooh, I got the belches. Otherwise, does not perform well. I think that's it. So next week, next Friday, April 11th, we're dropping 2 12-year MGP Ryes. Ghost Note Glen, 129 proof. We have Bongo Wood, 130 proof. Both of those are dropping, and a 65 bottle short barrel. Where's it at? I don't know where it went. Anyways, a 65 bottle short barrel of Bardstown Bourbon Company. There it is. 36 rye, 60, 36, 4. It's like 122-ish proof or something like that. That's dropping. That's going to be gone in the upper tiers. So it is what it is. But those ryes are dropping next Friday. All right, I'm out. Thank you for the great hang tonight, guys. What a blind flight. I'm going to wrap up with a final sip of the King of Kentucky, which is the easy winner of the night. All right, cheers. Hit that like button on your way out. Consider picking up one of these Circle City picks in the description of the video on bourbonoutfitter.com. That's going to do it. And I will see you guys probably in, let's see. I'll see you next week. I would think next week I'll probably do a blind or a live stream. And then we're going to be in Austin doing a Still Austin pick on the 17th, which is the Thursday after that. And then we'll probably be back the 24th as well. So there you go. Thank you, guys. See you in Discord. Cheers. Appreciate you being here.